Hello and welcome to the first and hopefully annual WUL versus PUL Women's All-Star Game. I am Kelsey Percy here with Manisha Dorani, and we are so thrilled to be here for this groundbreaking occasion. Manisha, welcome. So glad to have you. Tell me a little bit about what you're excited for with this game and why this is such a big occasion.
I mean, this has been one of the first opportunities that all semi-pro leagues have decided to come together and showcase the progress and the prowess of athletes. And the fact that we are getting to do an all-star game here in the middle of a UFA championship with a crowd that has been electric thus far, Kelsey, I think that you could not script a better scenario and space for this story.
So for those joining us from home, we are here in Breed-Stevens Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin, the capital of Ultimate. And I mean, last night we had to have had, close to approximately 800 fans here for one of the men's semifinals, and we're expecting similar crowds, apparently larger ticket sales for today, and they're really crediting that to the turnout for this highly anticipated women's matchup. There's going to be some serious talent, and you're going to get a look at the roster here in just a second. WUL up first. It's just a who's who of top-tier talent from the Central and West Coast. And take a look at some of these names. And, man, if you're going to talk top-tier talent, Manisha, tell us who you're excited about.
I mean, I got to start with Abby Thorpe. Abby Thorpe has been an unstoppable force in the WL. Abby has such a nose for the end zone, whether Abby is the one scoring the goal or the one holding the disc for the score. I suspect, Kelsey, that we are going to be saying Abby Thorpe's name a lot, and I'm so excited for the folks at home to have a chance to witness this incredible player at the prime of their career. And now, I also need to, of course, talk about Robin Pfennig. Robin Pfennig, in the first year of the WL, has immediately become an impact player for the Bay Area Falcons. Robin's talent is not just the fact that she has the throws, it's the fact that she integrates so seamlessly into every roster that she is a part of. And I suspect, knowing her skill set and knowing what this game means, Robin is going to give us a show today.
Definitely one of the most traveled players of all the players here. More on that later. One of the next things up, the Professional Ultimate League's roster missing some World Games level talent, but we are so excited both for the talent that's here and for new players that we're going to introduce you today. But right off the top, Jolie Krebs, someone that you are going to want to watch. Jolie Krebs blew up the college scene, SUNY Binghamton product. So dynamic, so powerful. Recent run at Nationals with Club Team Exist, and just as someone who watched the warm-ups this morning, anytime Krebs is on the field, Krebs absolutely takes over, but in a way that elevates all the players around her. Watch her to just move the disc faster than anyone else on the field and break at any given moment. Next up, a little bit of local talent for you. Emma Poyer, Minnesota product through the YCC programs, went on to play at Puget Sound, but liquid lightning speed. Emma Poyer is a deep threat, a finisher, and someone who is going to be an absolute playmaker for this PUL All-Star team.
And Kelsey, in talking about this all-star game, we are talking about combining two different leagues that have somewhat similar rule sets, and yet there are some significant differences. So in creating and cultivating this event, these two leagues did agree on a unified rule set that we're going to get to play with today that also includes one particular experimental rule. So when we talk about the rule sets, we are talking about using a 10-second stall. We wanted to ensure that both teams had the ability to be able to quickly integrate into a system, but we are using the forward the WL rule set as it relates to the end of quarters. That means we will not have buzzer beaters for this game. I know that any of you might be disappointed back at home, but this is an area where the WL's rule set is the one we're going to be using. Now, the experimental rule that I was talking about, Kelsey, that's what you see in the middle of your screen right now. We are going to be pulling from the brick mark. This is actually a nod to the UFA, but different from the UFA. The disc will go where it lands, and that's where they'll put it in.
Yeah, so a little bit advantage defense on a game that is so really maybe coded or geared towards offensive flow and offensive advantage. It's something that the UFA has really seen tilt it back just a little bit towards the defense, and so we could see some really exciting defensive play featured here today.
And exciting play as well. What we see on the screen, this is actually the women's Grand Master team, a local team that actually won in Colorado earlier this year. And you'll actually note on the right of your screen, both Robin Fennig and Coach Chelsea Putnam from the WUL also as part of that roster, getting, I think, some well-loved recognition by this local community.
Incredible run. If you have an Ultiworld subscription, definitely go back, watch that game, watch their championship run. It was incredible. They play defense like they're still in college, and I think well earned. And you see the celebration, both sides of the field celebrating Robin Fennig. Fennig is someone who has played East Coast, played Central, now plays West Coast. Like I said, very traveled, and someone who just, brings goodwill and high excellence wherever she goes.
And again, as we mentioned, now representing the WL. So let's talk about the WL.
This is professional women's ultimate. Fast, fierce, and fueled by passion. In the Western Ultimate League, we showcase world-class athletes competing at the highest level while building a future where equity, visibility, and community drive the game forward. Every throw, every layout, every cheer from the crowd. It's more than highlights and hard-fought wins. Western Ultimate League, where the spirit of competition meets the power of inclusion.
So getting there a little bit of the mission. We're getting actually eyes on the coin flip down on the field right now. We'll be seeing who starts on D, who gets to pull. But Manisha, you are board member, team owner, really good insight here. What are your thoughts on WUL? What drew you to that league?
Well, I think it was just a fun opportunity to create something incredible. But I also want to just highlight and acknowledge that these are our captains for both the WL and the PUL. On the left of your screen, you are seeing Alyssa Dixon and Justine Sherwick, and on the right we are seeing Lizzie Laurie and Penny Wu. Those were elected by their teams to be the captains for today's. They were involved with the coin toss, and a fun fact for you, Kelsey, there is a specialized coin that was created for today's matchup.
Oh, very much crests, I believe, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. See if we can't get a close-up maybe later on in the game for you folks back home. So you can see PUL players grading, and that's Coach Genghis in the shot right there for the PUL. Again, this is the challenge. You've got these high-tiered, skilled, intelligent players, but you only get a couple of hours with them. You get maybe a couple weeks of, emails or Google meetings back and forth. How do you build cohesion? Hey, look, there's our shot. Little PUL, WL. Man, hats off to whoever came up with that idea. But yeah, Misha, what are your thoughts on having talked to coaches from both teams, their process about building that cohesion and coming out and giving us a good product here at this game?
Kelsey, your point is correct. We had an opportunity to check in with both the WL and the PUL coaches before this game started. And yes, speaking with the PUL coaches, they acknowledged that this was going to be a challenge, but one that they found welcoming. They were excited to showcase players, and more importantly, the players themselves were excited to play with each other. With the PUL in particular, we were actually finding a lot of these players have not necessarily had a lot of reps together. And none of the players, when I spoke to before this game, said that this is a problem. They said this is a welcome challenge, and they're excited for the opportunity.
I'll add to that, Manisha, talking to WL coach Goose Helton. I really appreciated his insight of not just looking for, canvassing players for what chemistry already existed between them, but also looking for tendencies and preferences. Did they like to play small ball? Did they like to play particular styles of offense or defense? Okay, let's give those players opportunity to play those things together.
And I think both coaches understand the magnitude of today's event, and more importantly, their role in this. They want our teams to be able to celebrate incredible ultimate. And with that, Kelsey, we have our first pull.
Action live. WL picking up, PUL on defense. Chip Chang right now with the disc. Vinny hitting out that side, and we're already seeing the captains getting into action. You can see some of the effect of the wind. It is gusting a bit here in Madison. We're in between two lakes right now, and players are really working to get that lateral movement across the field. Low thrown and a bobble, that's a turnover. Terwink couldn't keep a hold of it, and so PUL here with a chance to quick score. Emma Poyer in action, goes up but knocked down. Sorry, that's Wilson who had the chance for that quick score. Paquette also in the area.
And that was Cardoza with the D.
So good counterattack pressure from PUL. A shot on goal, but WUL gets it back, but they are all the way back on their end zone. Inside shot. Elimelech will launch it deep. Defense pressure is there. The wind takes it over the top, and Yen does a really good job of adjusting and making the play. Byers Wilson going up line. Finds Barnett, has Paquette deep, sends it. That's a height mismatch. Has to attack the disc, Paquette scores.
And that is a break for the PUL. This is, if you asked how you want to script a start, you want to start with a break. What a great response, and frankly, opening salvo here for the PUL.
Both teams showing a willingness to shoot deep, but also defensive pressure. That's what we were hoping for, Manisha.
And we saw here, it was just this slightly high throw. Abby Davis in the vicinity just could not read it. Now you see the turnover happen. Barnett just without hesitation there, looking downfield, finding Paquette.
Really exciting to see these players taking off, Manisha, and I loved the pressure there. Terwick really not giving Paquette any free rein. Paquette had to run through and absolutely attack that disc. So now one of our players to watch, Jolie Krebs, with the disc.
And now, Kelsey, both teams indicated that they were going to be playing even lines, and we'll see this throughout the day. They've actually preset their lines on who they're going to be playing with throughout the game.
So, Manisha, I actually want you to explain that a little bit more for the folks back home. I'm sure we've got lots of, family of players. When you say even lines, tell me what you mean.
So each team has come in with,
shot deep, bobbled, players in the area. Morse was there to make sure it went to ground. Again, not being shy about that deep look.
Not at all. Now, again, what the teams discussed with us, the coaches that we discussed with, basically each team is coming in with about 18 to 19 players. And as a result, what they've done is they've divided the players into groupings.
Mass working with Poyer on the sideline. Little pinned, but they're able to get it off the line to Krebs. Krebs working with Montenegro, and they're doing such a good job of continually centering the disc. I'm really impressed with the PUL's offense and counterattack right now. Krebs goes up line. Perfect shot, inches from the line. Morse takes it to the cone. Double score, PUL. That's 2 breaks.
And this is just a phenomenal showcase right now for the PUL. Quick turnovers, a willingness to move the disc, and as you said, Kelsey, finding the center of the field, which is so important in being able to identify where the openings are and where you can attack from.
So, Manisha, 2 breaks. If you're Coach Goose Helton, when do you start making adjustments? When do you talk to your players, or do you let them just settle in?
You have to let them settle in. This is so early in this game, and Kelsey, to your point, this wind slightly picked up as we were doing our warm-ups, and where this team started this morning in much more stiller position in terms of wind, this wind has now become a little tricky, and right now, credit the PUL from being able to accommodate and deal with that wind right now much better than the WUL.
And when we say wind, let's be clear, we're talking winds of somewhere in the range of 10 to 15. Looks like we're up in 15, but gusts past that. And one of the unique characteristics of Breeze Stevens is it's a really open stadium, open end zones, but closed on one end, which means the wind doesn't just go, it also circles.
And Sadie Drzeski with an uncharacteristic drop.
But you see the disc kind of popping, elevating. Another short field opportunity here for the PUL. So with the disc, finds Poyer. PUL just continuing to pour it on. 3 breaks. PUL up 3-0.
And you know what's so interesting about these 3 break opportunities? They've all come from really unforced errors coming from the WUL. We just see some drops. We've seen some pucks that have hung a little too much. And I know that when we talked before the game, Kelsey, Coach Jonathan Helton was pretty clear that hucking may not be the game plan for the WUL.
Yeah, a little bit more of an emphasis on possession, on clean ultimate, and hitting those shots more when they were in flow and the right shot to take. So we'll be curious to see. Again, I don't expect changes in lines, but what do they do differently maybe to set themselves up or adjust for the weather or inclement? So looking to see who picks up for this WUL team. Testing PUL deep, trying to open up that under space. Cherwink has been so good about getting the disc. Elimelech hits the ground, but keeps the disc through contact, pops up again. Alex Barnett goes up strong. Snags the disc, sends a hammer. Defense, though, all over that, and the wind just sends it to the ground.
And I'm disappointed with that because that was an opportunity to now just really make an emphasis on this game and make it feel like this was the PUL's game, and that was just rushed. Speaking of rushed, we do see another turnover by the WUL here.
Barnett in the backfield. Big by Mast. Wilson stays focused, keeps possession through it. Barnett, North Carolina Pleiades product, just masterful in the end zone. Slashes to Paquette. Paquette scores 4th break in a row, Manisha. Was this what you expected?
I mean, my roots are showing. This was not the game I thought we would be calling at this point, Kelsey. Again, this is just middle of the first quarter, and I know we're going to get our clock operator moving onto the screen very shortly. But yes, this is not quite the script I thought we were going to be writing.
Well, and full transparency, one of the things you and I talked about, Manisha, is like, again, we mentioned there are World Games players who are in the PUL. I'm talking Cami Groom, I'm talking Claire Trope, who are not present, who played PUL this year, past years. And so those are, some of the levels of talent that we would love to see out here, unable to play for, very significant, obvious reasons. But so much of the WUL talent is here. And so it's so interesting to me that we are seeing this higher level of execution right now when we thought it was going to be a little bit of a David of Goliath with the WUL being Goliath.
I mean, I will say this is very early in the game, and Goliath maybe needs a little time to wake up.
Just Giants taking longer to stand. All right. WUL with possession, showing patience, some crispness to their throws that they will definitely need to punch through.
And it's not been the Christmas, Kelsey. It's been the completion.
Fennick takes a shot deep. It's a look. Big bid there. Gruznikova went for it. Couldn't bring it in.
When that disc went up, I thought it was a nice put. But again, we have to acknowledge that that wind is slightly pushing to the right. And the real question will be is, are we going to see this turn into an upwind, downwind sort of look? Or is this really pushing cross, which is what I think this wind is really doing for us right now?
Or is it something more complex with that, where it turns cross until it turns around and comes back at you?
Well,
welcome to Bruce Stevens. Love that step out there from Lizzie Laurie. And just as we say that, commentator's curse dinks off the hands of Megan Jarrell. Jarrell, the Purdue product out of Atlanta. One of the Atlanta representatives here. Loved the cut, loved the timing, but Fennick now with the disc. Applegate surveys, looks cross field. Lots of cuts, but also a good bit of separation right now for the WUL. They're looking a little more disconnected. Bid there from Applegate, can't come up with it. Jolie off to the races. But PUL taking a breath will find the space. Mast there had the patience, went up to Ford, shot goes to defend. Morse is there. And more scores. The onslaught continues.
And we are seeing incredible rightful players in the PUL getting to be celebrated. That's Linda Morse's second goal already in this early part of the game. It is Krebs' second assist. Those two have already connected with each other. And what we've also seen is Alec Barnett and Biquette seeming to find some connectivity as well. Again, we talked about these lines, these groupings of players, and these players who both, by the way, for the PUL asked to be in these groupings together. That's what our coaches told us, that they asked the players who they wanted to play with, and this is what the PUL chose. So perhaps the players know best.
Well, and Manisha, what a unique opportunity to play with people outside of your region, outside of your pro team, outside of your club team. I mean, how unique and interesting is that?
I mean, this is the joy and the beauty of being able to have things like all-star games. It's the opportunity to be able to play with the person that you either lined up against earlier in a season or you played in college with maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and you get to reconnect in these moments. And that's one of the beautiful things and one of the lovely things about having these all-star events.
Or you've always admired from afar. I mean, we've got some players that are a decade in age difference. Like, we do have some spectacular young players and some players like Robin Fennick who have been around the block and are still here and playing at a phenomenal level.
Fennick's block is very big, just so you know. But I agree with you. I mean, we've gotten a chance to see Paige Applegate get to work with Robin Fennick. When would you be able to script a storyline like that?
So for those who aren't as maybe drenched in ultimate history as we are, Applegate, a Colorado State product, has played with Molly Brown for a very long time, played Polar Bears. Fennick, someone who played Scandal, played Wisconsin before that, so that, you know, Central.
Played mixed with noise.
Played mixed with noise and had a Nationals run. Now West Coast with Tower, a team that's really took the club scene by storm last year. And so, yeah, these players that kind of pass in the middle of the night.
And what a beautiful pull. Again, we talked about this pull that is moved up to the brick line. Again, that's about 20 yards in front of the end zone, and that landed fully in the WL end zone.
Gorgeous pass by Jezierski. And look at that shot by Thorpe. Out in space, you see the wind. Ella Melik just throwing herself around the field, but that one sails too far.
And now it looks like a question about matchups for the WL, trying to figure out who they're supposed to guard.
Good dishing. I really like how Monshine keeps possession, but the PUL able to really progress the disc, maximize their momentum, but then take a breath and maintain possession. Disc tips off the hands of Monshine. Is they're able to bring it back in.
Elmi nearby, but just not able to get that D.
Sarah Monshine, a late add to this team. Clara Stewart of Austin Torch was supposed to be here, unable to attend. And Monshine able to fill in and already having an impact on the game.
And PUL with an opportunity to go up 6, but just a miscue in the end zone. Now Helton picking up.
Kayla Helton back from Worlds, where she scored not her first, but her second gold World Games medal. But WL still plagued by
the drops.
Errors, drops, bobbles, skies. Monshine stays focused, plays in, lots of space in the end zone. Stack is adjusting, shot out to space. Poirier accelerates, Jezierski's there.
Did the
Jezierski
D.
get it?
That is a D.
Looks like there will be some discussion. That was so close.
When that disc went up, I understood that Jezierski, who is an incredible defender, we're going to watch this replay here.
I love this vision from Monshine. Look how close that was. Jezierski just focused. Poirier accelerating.
So now watching this replay, Kelsey, what's your call?
Jezierski got up with full confidence.
It looks like they sent it back, and this beautiful break throw.
Double score, Manisha. What do you tell your players?
And that was Penny Wu with the cheeky break side, inside out to the far side of the field.
So Emma Poirier of the Minnesota Strike almost scores on one side, ruled a maybe contested strip, goes back, runs to the complete other side of the end zone, scores again. Again, Manisha, as a coach, why do you practice double score? Just describe that to parents and fans back home.
I think the biggest thing that we talk about, especially where areas of the game that are the most impactful, the end zone, which is a smaller area, requires more precision, more timing. And if you can run reps in that area, which by the way, that is what the PUL did this morning during their practice. Kelsey, you and I got a chance to watch their practices this morning. This was at 7:30 this morning.
Big saving grab by Chip Chang, immediately rips it deep. You see the wind just taking control of the disc. And Chip Chang's throws pack a punch. Had Elamelik in that area, player deep, but maybe cutting from too far.
It might be, but you can see who they're looking for downfield, and I don't disagree with that as the target, but right now their throws have just not been dialed in.
Disc up. Beckett tried to elevate, little bit of contact, sails over everyone. Chip Chang will pick up again.
And just so you know, Kelsey, right now, that is, in my book, third turnover of the PUL. Right now, the WL already with 10 this early first quarter.
You know, I'm all for shots, Manisha, but this last point especially has looked a little more sloppy. I was actually really happy with a lot of the precision that I was seeing so far. What's your take on it?
Well, I'm wondering right now if the WL wants to play a position game. And what that means is an opportunity to get a D. That is Abby Davis.
Big underneath bid from Abby Davis. And Davis was one that you had highlighted. And look at that.
Is the monkey off the WL's back? That was a bookends, as we call it in the business. An opportunity for Davis to get the layout D and then immediately striking deep for the score. Davis, a substitute actually for the WL, was supposed to be Paige Kircher. And I noticed you're looking at the score sheet, Kelsey, the players were given on the WL an opportunity to keep their original jersey number. So yes, for your sake and mine, we have some doubles. So yes, for your sake and mine, we have some doubles.
What she's referring to is the double 14. I had to do a little second, kind of alternating and then filling, but miscommunication. Montenegro dives for it, can't get there. That shot was intended for Krebs, but just goes too far. Fenig on the move.
And now a question about a pick. Again, the players utilizing hand signals to indicate that there has been an interruption of play, causing a stoppage on the field.
Karuzhnikova right now with the disc. Looks like it will go back.
And at this point, the WL about 30 yards away from the promised land. Can they get this hold?
I mean, if you're Fenig, do you hit Karuzhnikova again? She's
Yes.
still open.
Yes.
And just like that, Karuzhnikova back forth, open for days, still getting yards, working with Fenig in the give-go. Applegate with the big fakes moves the defense. Good switching from PUL.
Forces the WL out of their end zone set, and then a poach block there by the PUL.
PUL being patient. Mast again leading the charge in the middle of the field. Hitting some really narrow windows, and look at the creativity of the shots from Krebs.
It's a beautiful throw.
Applegate taking that Krebs matchup, shot deep. It'll go down, and there was a whistle.
That's a timeout. That was a timeout we were hearing. So again, these electric whistles are the ability. So I'm going to just acknowledge what we saw in the end of the first quarter. What I thought was a timeout when the players stopped moving was actually just the end of play. As part of the WL rule set, the quarter does not end on the clock. It ends on the possession. And so when there was a turnover by the WL, that actually ended the first quarter. Now that's different than what we're seeing here, which is the PUL's first timeout. That timeout is signified by an electric whistle that you are hearing and perhaps heard in the broadcast. And as a result, now, as I was describing earlier, this allows both teams to substitute unlimited players, which includes all 7, can be substituted in and out for the next point. Now in this instance, the PUL will come in with the disc, they'll get to set up wherever they want, and the WL will also come in and they will get to set their D before the disc comes in.
So more importantly, the PUL maintaining possession there.
Correct, and the stall will actually go down to 1 as well. So a timeout, very valuable in the WL and in the PUL rule sets because it is a true reset of sorts for the offense.
So we're getting a look here. Captain Penny Wu picking up the disc, sends it over. Monshine elevates over the defense. Lyra Olsen on the sideline, stall count rising, looks for Monshine. Good offhand distribution of the disc. PUL very successfully moving the disc laterally, hitting those resets. Under pressure there, but Poyer covered by Helton.
And a hand block
and
there.
Hand blocks by Helton. That could be a really fun matchup throughout this game if they stay on opposing lines.
Well, I think this is Helton saying, okay, wait a second, I got to put my mark on this game here. You can see them all looking deep. And a miscue there between two Barry of Falcons teammates. That was Talia Ward looking for Robin Fennig, again, who will find herself downfield from time to time, but it looks like Fennig did not know that throw was going up.
Manisha, what are your thoughts on the types of deep looks that the WL has taken so far? Why do you think that they are not connecting?
Well, I think the challenge is, you know, Kelsey, kind of to your point, it might just be the stars. It's the fact that you have these incredibly accomplished throwers that as a receiver, your temptation sometimes is well, I have to go deep because that's what this thrower wants. And right now, what I'm gonna really challenge the WL to do is to get these throwers to really insist on playing smaller and playing quicker rather than looking for these slower, longer looks that right now the PUL has really taken away from the WL.
Shot out to space, beautiful touch.
And this is a zone that's being played here by the WL. Now turning into person. And looking for the cheeky throw, but Jezerski in the area.
Jezerski just owning the end zone right now. Helton pivots, being very patient. Stall count rising. Is that a returned hand block from Poyer?
No, I think that was actually just a miscue by Helton. Helton was trying to look for the inside out break throw, but it just kind of got stuck in the hand. You can see Helton with the apology. Hey, my bad.
Hey, that happens. Shot to the cone from Wu, does not connect. Was looking for Lyra Olsen there, and it just hits the ground. We're seeing a lot of the throws that direction just going low. Monshine with the run through D. Spins McLaughlin around. Those are two players that have played against each other a lot between Dragon Thrust and Shame. Short, quick throw from Olsen. That is a score for the PUL.
And a break as well for the PUL.
Their break tally keeps rising, and they have now doubled and tripled the WL. What does it take right now, Manisha, to get the W back in?
Well, I think we were talking about it in this last point. Again, this point was quite lengthy. We had a timeout on the point. We had a bunch of replacement of players. You can see the hand block there by Helton that should have started this point, and then what would have been an opportunity to score in the end zone, just kind of dropping to the ground, and then this inside out, very quick, easy throw, finding the end zone.
The credit for that goal going to Georgia Tzu. Again, being very involved in several of the scores so far on this game. Again, I love that we're seeing such representation from different regions of the country, all these different play styles getting the chance to mesh together. What a treat and what a privilege, Manisha.
And this has been, we've talked about this at the top of the broadcast. We'll get to also talk about the PUL as we continue onto this broadcast. But this has been a game that this community and these leagues have been asking for and wanting for. And credit the UFA for giving the opportunity for this game to happen here at Championship Weekend. And these two teams who comprised of incredible players who are eager, especially on the WL side, to put on a show. And a D there by the PUL.
And you saw wanted so badly to send it deep to Beckett.
And then Davis says no.
McKenna McEnmore, credit there on taking the shot, but in looking short. But it's turn and then turn again. Both PUL and WUL just trading turns here.
I was just too quick on the draw. Sherwink trying to find Cardoza up line, and it just went too far.
Liv Ford picked up that disc and got things in motion. Byers now looking to connect, has Wilson, tips the disc, stays connected, shot to Beckett. Beckett just never gets a chance. The wind really taking a hold of that one. Cheryl Sue makes sure she maintains possession, looks up to Elimelech. Elimelech finds Cherwink. Cherwink airs it out, has some touch, but the defense able to hone in. Chip Yen gets another block. Are you even keeping track, Manisha? You've been trading back and forth so quickly.
It looks like the other timeout has been called by the PUL. This is their second timeout here in this second quarter. Again, each team ending up with 2 timeouts per half. The PUL rightfully understanding an opportunity for a break, calling their second timeout now. And the question will be, how will the WUL answer?
You know, if you're the WUL, you've got to be a little bit shell-shocked. There's still a lot of game. We're just in the first half. And with winds like this, it can be so variable. We know that Ultimate is a game that favors runs. You get a little bit of momentum, you can build more momentum.
And right now with 3 minutes and a little bit of under 3.5 minutes left here in this second quarter, this is a real must-score opportunity, if you ask, must-score moment here for the WUL. They have to get this D, and they have to get themselves back into this game.
Manisha, one of the things I want to highlight, and I'd love to hear, a little bit of your take on, as I was researching and preparing for this game, I was so delighted to see the number of players for both of these teams that got their start all the way back in White CC. So this is, Youth Club Championship. So players able to start playing at age 15, 16, 17, getting to compete and build skill sets. And I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing such a high presence of skilled players so young.
And right now the question is the strategy. We're seeing a side stack from the PUL out of the timeout, and a hand block.
Hand block, Reina Kamrat comes in with that hand block. That is huge for the WUL. Fenig, Applegate trying to get things rolling. Fenig cycles downfield. Applegate, stall count rising. Good snag there, keeps the disc in play.
But Dixon just a little too rushed there, and as a result, an opportunity wasted for the WUL. PUL now back with the disc, under 3 minutes in the second quarter. I'm going to give you now more score updates and timeline updates as this broadcast goes on.
Montenegro airs one out, has Morse. Morse touches it, and it's just too far.
It would have been Morse's third opportunity to get on the score sheet. Again, 2 goals already for Morse this game.
So Dixon picking up for the WUL. Early cut initiation. Montenegro stays. Nice poach there.
And now you're hearing the WUL timeout. So again, that's another stoppage of play. There's 2:22 now left in the clock here. And this is an opportunity now for the WUL to reset itself once again, adding new players. This is the second timeout within the same point.
You heard Coach Chelsea Putnam there really trying to hype up her team. And look at this line that they're putting out there. Talk about scoring machines. You've got Helton, you've got McLaughlin, you've got Jazerski. Talk to me about the other players. What would you look for with this kind of line? Thorpe's out there too.
Thorpe is out there as well. So again, one of the things that's really fun to watch about Thorpe is a hybrid. Now, a hybrid just basically says they can start behind the line of scrimmage or they can start downfield. But when I'm looking at the handlers, when I'm talking about Paige Applegate, that's seven on your screen, Talia Ward, who's just to your right, and then Elmi, who's also a natural handler, I suspect we're going to see Thorpe starting downfield, and which means that they are looking to isolate and understandably likely looking to then for a huck.
Manisha, would you call that a kill line? I haven't seen this combination of players out on the field yet for the WUL.
You know, the danger of this, of asking me this question, is because I think so highly of all of these players, I would almost call every line a kill line. But I do think that what we are seeing right now is a bit of a mixing of lines. So I'm going to agree with that, Kelsey, that this doesn't look like the consistency of groupings that we were seeing earlier in this game. We're starting to see a little bit of a deviation.
So Applegate starting with the disc. Working with Elmi in the backfield, but just too much hanging on that. McLaughlin unable to bring it in. Shot out to space. And just like that, it's a turn again. Elmi makes the read, sends it up to Zerski. Has McLaughlin out in space.
And now we are less than 2 minutes into this second quarter. This is an opportunity for half. We can see about whether or not they're going to score quickly or slowly.
Love that fake by Elmi, really moving the defense, but the pressure. That's Olsen in that space, makes Helton miss it, shot deep. Poyer hesitated, thought it was gone, but picks up the play, and the PUL scores.
And that is a break for the PUL. Not at all how that point started. That was coming out of a timeout for the WUL. An opportunity to score the disc downfield. A pressure D disrupting Kayla Helton in the middle of the field, and then Penny Wu picking the disc up and saying, no, thank you, this is my game.
What an incredible play from Olsen. That just transitioned. Poyer striking towards the end zone, and you saw her hesitate.
And the hesitation actually worked in her favor. Again, we're talking about this wind, the wind actually catching the disc, holding it in a space and then dropping down, allowing Poyer to be able to readjust for that third goal of this early second half. And right now, again, 1:37 left in this second quarter.
And Manisha, tell me what you think of this environment. You heard the crowd gasp when that happened.
I think when that throw went up, right, people were like, oh, that's a turnover. But the wind actually helped create the goal and create the break opportunity.
And again, for those back home, it's loud right now in the stadium. The stands are packed. There's several hundred people here. Deep shot, going up, pursuing. What an incredible bid there from Abby Davis. Can't come up with it.
And Davis was trying to set up the defender to be able to get the read, but then the disc just sailed too far over Davis's head. Now an opportunity for the the PUL with 1:10 left on this clock to potentially go on double digits in this all-star game.
Alex Bartlett working with Matamore. Ford now takes a shot, puts touch on it. Byers attacks the disc. Now shot to Beckett, too much. Wait, no. Beckett can't close.
This crowd would have erupted. Now again, Kelsey, let's acknowledge that we do have some local fans here. We have players obviously from Minnesota Strike, the Milwaukee Monarchs as well. And so a lot of those fans are here in attendance today. Again, not only for this game, but for the the UFA Championship that will be held after this game.
You wish it was the WL Championship in this incredible stadium.
I would have loved it.
Again, the wind having such an effect on players' throws, and we've kind of come to a place of who can better capitalize on those opportunities, who is having better field position and making use of short field turns. Barnett bodies, elevates, and brings it down. Matamore in the backfield working with Ford.
We now have 36 seconds left on the clock. This clock will continue unless there's a stoppage or a score. This could be the end of the second quarter.
Wilson up to Matamore. Has Beckett deep. Finds Ford for a reset up line. Looks for that inside. The defense collapses.
16 seconds on the clock.
Matamore, Ford, it holds. Big diving save to keep things alive.
7 seconds on the clock. Again, this point will not end on the clock. It will end on the possession. The PUL with an opportunity now to end this.
Matamore inches away. We might have a call. Are they saying it's a travel?
Looks like there was a pick call, an injury call. And so there's be a substitution. So now this will be an untimed point for the remainder of this point. Either the WL will get a turn or the PUL will score.
Lanisha, we just saw 7 to 9 passes there in that 1/3 of the field. As a coach, what would you like to see now after this stoppage?
If I am the PUL, again, understanding the clock is my friend, I don't need to rush anything at this point. I might as well find the right pass rather than finding the quick pass. And that's actually one of the hardest things for a lot of players as they transition from an area like college or club and coming into the semi-pro environment, is understanding the usage of the clock.
And for those back home, one of the things I want to draw your attention to, the wind is going from the near side of you, so the downside of the screen, up. So Byers just threw that upwind hammer. PUL getting better positioning, saving grab from Bartlett again. Bartlett fakes, goes break side.
Not in.
Matamore on the cone, really wanting to play in these small spaces.
And a hand block by Sue to end the quarter and take us to half.
That is such a huge play, denying PUL the score. Big play by Sue. That's got to feel like a moral victory right there.
Moral victory or not, I find the WL and I'm looking at this score line. I'm asking myself, what are we going to have to do in the second half to get back into this game? Kelsey, you're correct. This wind continues to be out here, but more importantly, these players have just felt out of sorts for the WL. The PUL, on the other hand, looking like the sharper, more polished team in these two quarters of play. Yes, of course, we have a second half to go, Kelsey, but I am very impressed by the PUL.
And remember, each team just getting a few small hours this morning to build that chemistry. Both of them playing some full field reps, but again, we saw the PUL really emphasizing these smaller chemistry drilling again and again and again, double score, triple score, trying to discuss and communicate on habits and preferences. I'm sure those conversations were happening WO as well.
And now I guess we get to go down to the field, and we have Linda Morse here for our halftime interview.
Hello.
Linda, what an incredible game so far. How does it feel to be here at the first All-Star Game?
Well, it feels pretty incredible. I was a part of the league since its inception in 2019. I traveled up to New York to play, and to have a team in Philadelphia and then to be able to gather with a group of women and non-binary players to this caliber in front of this crowd is pretty incredible.
And Linda, so far you've had a really great first game. I know you want to talk about that little dink in the second quarter, but 2 goals already in this game. How does it feel to play with some of these players that you may not have had an opportunity to play with before?
I mean, it's much better than chasing them around. I mean, the league had so much like fun parity and getting to play some really tight games. It's awesome to now have them on my side and get to see them do incredible things. I'm sure that this second half will have a ton of great plays as well.
So Linda, talk to me about the experience of playing with these different players. Who's someone that you maybe hadn't spent time with before that you really enjoyed getting to know?
My roommates this weekend are Rachel Mast and Mac, and they are just really awesome human beings. We walked around the farmers market today, and just seeing them also ball out has been really fun. It's nice to play with Rachel on the same line. But like a lot of players that are in the other division, like Liv is doing really incredible, and Natalie, it's just awesome to be able to play with so many different people from so many different teams.
Well, Linda, thank you so much for taking time out of your halftime to have and chat with us. Is there anyone at home you'd like to say hi to?
I gotta say hi to my grandma. I hope she's watching on the stream. Thank you.
All right, Linda Morris, thank you so much for joining us. What an incredible first half. We saw some big plays. We hope to bring you some more, but we're gonna take it to break here at the halftime in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine in a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement's meant to be. Combat Candy. making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
Hello and welcome back to the second half of the Women's All-Star Game, PUL versus WL, here in sunny but breezy Madison, Wisconsin. We are here at Breese-Stevens Stadium with a big crowd for a fantastic game. I'm Kelsey Percy here with Manisha Doriani. Thanks for joining us. And Manisha, talk to me a little bit about these stats. What's sticking out to you?
Well, it's so interesting if I look at the bottom line, these turnovers. In so many ways, the WL's turnovers have been the most painful. Yes, right now the gap has closed, but that closed actually in the second quarter. In that first quarter, the WL had already over a dozen turnovers. That has resulted in what you're seeing, this top line, this O-line conversion rate. That is the number of opportunities that the WL had to be able to score the disc, and you can see this tale of two lines right now. And you can see it both in the completions, which is down in the middle of your screen, as well as in the red zone. The WL has not found itself being able to get close enough to the end zone to be qualified as an end zone rep.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fascinating, the inversion. Red zone, 1 opportunity for WL, 12 opportunities for PUL. They're getting closer, they're getting more of the short field opportunities. Hucks 1 of 8 versus 1 of 1.
And these Hucks right now is the difference of this score line right here. You can see this right now, 7-point lead here for the PUL has been large part due to basically unforced errors coming from the WL in some of these deep looks. Some of them have hung, some of them have been able to go out of bounds. But let's see if we can talk to one of our WL players to talk about this first half and what to expect in the second.
Looks like we're joined here by Dina Elimelech. Dina, thank you so much for joining us. Hello and welcome to the All-Star Game.
Thanks.
Maybe not what you were expecting from that first half. Tell me kind of your perspective on those first couple points and how you're approaching the second half.
Yeah, I think, like you were saying about the stats, we've had a lot of unforced errors, but they're also, they're hitting each other in the chest and they're connecting really well. And I think that's something that we're missing, and that's something that we're going to look to improve in the second half. Yeah, I think the wind's been a little weird. We've had some funny drops. I think we're going to up the defensive intensity and hopefully claw our way back.
And Dina, you are a player who has been involved with the WL for a very long time, continuing to play with the San Diego Super Bloom, despite often not even living in the area. What does it mean to you to be a part of the WL?
It means so much. It's a great, fun space to play with people you don't get to play with during club, and just the range of talent that we have across the West Coast, and now getting to also showcase that against the PUL, which we've never done before, feels like a really special moment. So yeah, it's a great way to showcase women's sports here.
So for those at home, Dina, can you tell us about the atmosphere? What is it like? This is a huge crowd that you're playing in front of. What has this atmosphere been like? You were obviously here last night watching the semifinals. What is it like for you to be on this field?
It's great, yeah, to share the same space as the men's pro league has been wonderful. There's a ton of fans here. Yeah, the energy's really good, and I think we're also, the PL and the WL are kind of supporting each other. Cool plays are cool plays, and we're just out here to showcase our best, so hopefully we continue to do that.
Dina, so if there's a player that you maybe hadn't met before or didn't know, who's someone that's young and up and coming that you're super excited to have been introduced to through this game?
Ooh, 97 here actually, Burkett, I believe. I played 4v4 mini yesterday with her, and she's really fast, and I think she has really good instincts on the field. So, yeah, excited to see where that goes.
Love that. Dina, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in the second half. We
Thanks.
appreciate you. Have a good game.
Thank you.
So Kelsey, now looking ahead again, the PUL has clearly demonstrated that they are not a team to be overlooked, if perhaps that was sort of the betting line as we came into this game. But as we think about this PUL roster and this PUL league, this league has been around since 2019. That was when the year they were founded, and their first season was also in 2019, which includes this year's champions, which were the New York Gridlock. Now, PUL consists of 11 teams, again, 10 of which are represented today. Kelsey, as you pointed out, they were all 11 initially, but as a result of a late injury, now we're down to 10.
Now, no Austin Torch.
No Austin Torch.
A little spot for the PUL here. We're going to learn a little bit more about PUL right here for you.
And looking at that dramatic view of the PUL, but all the drama right now really focused on the WL and whether or not they can answer this 7-goal deficit as we're about to start this second half. Kelsey, we have about 30 seconds left in the clock before our second half starts. Now, what we'll see is that the teams have now switched the sides that they are attacking. And more importantly, what is going to happen is that we are going to start with the WL receiving in this second half.
It'll be really interesting to see how both of these teams come out. Again, PUL hit the ground so hot in that first quarter and then first half, but we've seen the steadying of the ship from the WL. And let's be real, we both know both these teams have the pieces and the parts to make it happen. Who can become more cohesive throughout the course of this game? And it all starts with one, right?
It's always got to be 1 point at a time. Again, whether you are playing in an all-star game or playing in college, club, or even pickup, it always has to start with 1 point at a time. Your job at this point is to just focus on the task at hand, which is that receiving the disc, catching and throwing. You heard it from Dina. Yes, there were some drops, but their goal is to be able to steer that ship and right the direction of the WL, and ideally come out and narrow this gap down to 6.
So we are seeing maybe a slightly different line than we did see previously. Applegate back.
And more importantly, we are seeing a side stack for the WL coming out of this second half. When we previously saw a little bit more horizontal, again, the cutters being across the field. In this instance, now we're only attacking a half of the field.
Helton back, rips one deep, lots of height on this. Ward looking around, couldn't find it. You saw shoulder checking, trying to track it down, but looking back into the sun.
And you could see what Helton was looking at. That was an open, deep receiver, but these deep hucks have been very difficult, not only to execute, but to read.
Yeah, from a standstill in that direction, having to look back and find the disc. Just not a good option right now. Megan Durrell quickly gets it off the sideline. Mast has just been such a calm, stabilizing presence for the PUL.
And the PUL picking up where they left off.
Miscommunication there on Cutson, and Helton just capitalizes, and just like that, the WL on the move, setting it out to space. Cherwing, churning, chasing.
And there may be a call there by Cherwink, who appeared to have the lane. And the question is going to be whether or not there was contact. And as we see this beautiful replay by our incredible camera crew here, the question is going to be whether or not Cherwink is going to say, hey, I had that vertical space, you went into that space, and as a result, I should be able to be awarded the disc.
Well, and more than that, Manisha, I'm seeing perhaps some contact on the hand as Cherwink's reaching for that disc.
And it looks like there was no foul ruled on the play. The disc now goes back to the PUL.
So PUL with the disc, but one thing that does gain for the WL is field position, not getting the short field. Krebs moving maybe too fast for Mast. Mast wasn't ready to go. Disc goes out of bounds now. Short field, this is key. One of the first short field opportunities for the WL. They've got to capitalize.
And unfortunately do not. So this is going to be an 0 for 2 now for the WL in the end zone sets.
Applegate there with the Montenegro mark. Krebs, Matamor, Montenegro, just like that, out of the cone space. Looking to move, goes crossfield to Moores. Mast again, just that glue in the middle of the field.
And the PUL doing a great job of utilizing the swings to be able to switch directions on this field before looking deep.
What an incredible play. I believe that was Cherwink who got a hand on it. Krebs had done a turnaround fake, trying to leverage up, but a quick turn, and now short field opportunity for PUL. Mast picking up.
It looks like just a miscue on who they were targeting. Disc landing safely in the hands of a PUL player between two WL options.
Matamor, Montenegro, Krebs in that backfield. Big up Megan from Jeriel.
And
goes up, rips it down. Another break for the PUL. 10-2. The onslaught continues.
And that's Gerald with the goal. And I'm going to give a shout out to the Jolene Bar in Atlanta. I understand that there is a watch party happening. And wow, you're looking at that replay of that layout D. But thank you so much for participating and celebrating Women's Ultimate. Shout out to you all.
And if you're the home crowd for the PUL, if you're watching this, you've got to feel good for your players. PUL players have got to feel good too. Everything's kind of going right. And let's be honest, this is a high volume of turns.
Yes.
Like a very, very high. There's got to be some frustration with that, but maybe the looseness also contributing to players wanting to push the tempo.
And this is always the challenge as you get to a second half of a game. Yes, you understand that quick scores are helpful, and so you want to try and create quick scoring opportunities with just these deep looks. But again, to date, these deep looks have not been successful for the WL.
Jezierski, big fake. Wu goes for it, but instead hits the inside. Space there. Poyer was closing, couldn't get it. No, did get it. That small touch on the D, Melissa Dunn couldn't track it down. I think Poyer thought she had missed it. Watch this again. Beautiful
It's not even
shot.
that she missed it. It's actually that the disc just trailed too far and then just picked up with that wind. So while there may or may not have been a touch, the real challenge is that I don't know if Dunn would have been able to get it regardless.
The PUL going downfield, airs it out. Becca Henley tracking, pressure from Jezierski. WL will have the full field to work, but they've got possession. Pressure from Monshine. Thorpe keeps it. Able to take that inside shot. Love this look going cross field. Connects with Dunn.
And Dunn really smartly holding and holstering. Now the WL trying to get into an offensive sequence.
Emma Bartlett working with Thorpe and Jezierski in the backfield. Connects up with Dixon. Dixon pivoting sharply. WL working really good angles this point across the field, but they're not gaining a lot.
And what I'm also seeing is that we're seeing some connectivity between some of the internal rosters for the WL. We're seeing the Seattle players putting together with the Colorado players, and yes, a turnover there, but moving the disc the full 60 yards.
And that shot was intended for Reina Kamrat. Kind of goes in between the two layers. Olsen now with the disc. Such a quick release on that flick.
And especially in this win, that throw, if it's not perfect, will be a turnover.
Stoppage on the field. Looks like the disc will be tapped back in. Emma Bartlett closes, but had a lot of time. Olsen thought about it. Thought about it again, sends it to Poyer. Jezierski's there. Poyer brings it home. Has Monshine going deep. Will send it out to her teammate. That's a strike-to-strike connection. Thorpe is there. That's a lot of contact.
And there's a question of a foul there. Thorpe looking back.
Is there a question?
Well, that's going to be the question as we watch this replay. Whether or not there was contact, and it does appear that there was some contact before the disc reached, but it looks like it's just going to be sent back. The observers for this game understanding that their role is to move the tempo of this game along. We're right now 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in this third quarter.
You know what I couldn't see from the original angle was how much of the lane Monshine had given up, and Thorpe just owning that space, Monshine having to come back into. I would argue clean D from Thorpe.
Either way, you can in any game of Ultimate bring the disc back, and that's what we see happen here. The disc is now back in the PUL's possession. And a timeout called by the PUL. Again, this is a break opportunity for the PUL. Interesting to call this timeout so early in the third quarter when you still have the fourth left. But on the other hand, an 8-goal lead right now does feel a little insurmountable. Well, so Kelsey,
I'm chewing on that. I'm chewing on that and what that means and like what I would do in the position as a coach. Because it is interesting, Manisha. You've got that huge lead. Do you use them at all? But also, if you don't really like what you're seeing and you have a chance to keep your team playing smooth, yeah, it could be an opportunity. What's your thought on why that timeout was called there?
I mean, again, I think to your point, timeouts serve a number of purposes in the game. They either serve the purpose of being able to just reset your offense. They sometimes serve a purpose of letting your players catch their breath. And then in games like the PUL and the WL, it serves an opportunity to change personnel. Now, sometimes you get all three at the same time, and sometimes you just focus on one or two.
Now, one thing I do want to shout out, and I love to see Liv Ford back in the game, picking up for the PUL here. Remember, took an injury earlier, but now on the field and working with Alex Barnett in the backfield.
And the PUL demonstrating what they have really helped them throughout this game, which is their resets.
Barnett goes over the top, hammer to Ford. Barnett, the space that Barnett's able to occupy, that shot too high, but Biquette comes up with another. What a playmaker for this PUL team.
And the third goal here for Biquette, again, not the intended receiver, but very smartly follows the play. And as a result, the PUL with a break. So a really advantageous timeout, Kelsey. That PUL capitalizing with this break opportunity on what may have been a turnover and yet works out in their favor.
And I want to shout out that if you aren't already there, if you haven't gone to it, we have advanced stats for this game on the WatchUFA.com website. Look for Championship Weekend, look for this game, you can get it. In spite of the high turns in general, Emma Poyer +2 on this, Biquette now +1 with that play, and that's kind of the volume of play, making some really significant options, but yards too being a factor. Biquette up there has 35 yards, and it's just the impact in these small spaces, not a huge number of yards.
So what's so interesting, by the way, is the PUL is keeping the same line out on the field, while the WL has opted for a new line and back to their original playbook, which is to look deep.
Jane McLaughlin elevates
And a drop after the deep.
That reset too quick to Korichnikova. I loved the shot deep from Helton. Matamore airs one out. Too far for Wilson, couldn't connect. Bing, bang, boom, 2 turns.
And now it's almost like as if the point just started, right? Because that's where...
Minus 10 yards for WL, but yes, possession back.
Yep.
Fenig with the disc. Looked off the inside, really taking away a lot of these options.
And then a timeout called by the WL. Stall was getting high. Again, we say the stall does reset with the timeout call, but now what's going to happen is the disc is going to start right back in that corner at stall of 1.
So Manisha, we've talked a lot about the cohesiveness and the PUL able to connect. You heard Dina Elimelech talking about how PUL players were hitting each other in the chest. What else are you seeing from this PUL team? Like, for example, the defense on that point. What factors are you seeing?
Well, I have to give the PUL right now the nod on the defensive pressure in this game. While the WL has been in position, by and large, they have not been able to disrupt the PUL's offense. Again, we're just looking at the really great grab by McLaughlin, pretty, classic, frankly, and then just a bobble drop. And now we get to the turnover here. It was just a little too far, hard angle to catch. And now again, Fenig was going to go get the disc, but the stall got high. Coaches of the WL decided to call the timeout. But again, you're putting yourself right back into that same corner. They're coming out with that vertical stack, which is what they did before this timeout was called.
And check the fans. I mean, this is packed. What an environment. What a treat to play for this kind of audience. Applegate starting with the disc, gets the disc off the line, but they are in their own end zone.
And a zone look coming from the PUL here. A junky look, again, not necessarily guarding a person, but really just guarding spaces. WL seeming like they're having trouble figuring out where the open spaces are.
Izzy Laurie picks up the Applegate. Linda Morse through with the D. Cherwink was running through that, but it didn't matter. Morse came through and ate it up.
That's a beautiful layout D there by Morse.
PUL again, moving the disc cross field.
And now the question is tempo or looking for the deep?
Ward goes inside to Elimelech. They're working the disc up the field pretty nicely. They're past the half. Cherwink, nice dish back to Ward. This is good flow, Manisha. Applegate on the outside. Commentators curse. And these are small errors. This is not how this team should be losing.
Exactly. We want to see great defense. We don't want to see self-inflicted wounds, and that's what we've been seeing throughout this game for the WL. Self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. Great layout, followed by a drop. Great tempo, followed by a drop, and the PUL eating it up.
Big bid there from Cherwink, returning the favor. That shot was for Linda Morse. A little bit too inside, and Cherwink takes complete advantage.
Stall getting high once again, but finds an outlet.
Norton, good job of connecting with Helton there.
And you know what Helton's looking at.
Elimelech, disc is coasting, but who comes down with it? What an electric play.
Not at all, I think, how Helton drew that up, but I think both players just relieved that the point has ended. 1:38 left in this third quarter. That was really Elimelech's disc. And frankly, I think Georgia Cardoza D'd it, getting a great look at that layout. And then again, the trading of the layouts here. Cherwink's just getting just enough.
But watch this again. Elimelech chasing it down. Cardoza, lightning focus, charges through the celebration of the two players. One more time.
And I do not think Cardoza knew that Elimelech was attacking that disc.
I mean, maybe a little more disc awareness would be the safe thing there, but look also, Cordoza catching the inside of that disc. That's such a difficult catch. Like, arguably, Elamelic had the better line on the disc. Absolutely.
Well, 1:38 left in this third quarter. Again, we were 9-2, 7-point lead for the PUL in the beginning of this quarter. Right now, up to 8. Can it go back down to 7? That will require the WUL to get a break here. And right now, the PUL being very patient with the disc. Time is their friend in these clocked games. When you have a lead, your responsibility is to just keep the disc out of the hands of your opponents. You can see that clock going down on the right of your screen. Just a little over 1:10 left. But we see the huck. And Jezierski once again, while in the area, unable to come up with the D. The PUL just on the doorstep of the end zone. And a drop in the end zone.
Chip Yen was there. They were in flow, but again, we've talked tempo, how quick and crisp so much of this is, but these are players that have not played together before, almost across the board. Remember, both teams asking their coaches, both players from both teams asking their coaches to give them maximum exposure to other. Big rip from Dixon. Thorpe goes up and makes the play.
And then almost another drop again. Thorpe again continuing to go deep. Jezierski looking downfield.
Can Thorpe do it again?
There is the break.
They were seeking that one for a long time. Thorpe not once, but twice. No hesitation, 0 from Jezierski.
And that was Dixon throwing the disc up. Thorpe had decided that Dixon was not throwing that disc. By the time Dixon released it, there were 3 players next to Abby Thorpe. And Abby Thorpe not only roofs those 3, then picks up and continues downfield for the easy score and the WUL break, the second break of the game. Watching this replay.
Over Barnett,
who had just gotten the better of Jezierski a second earlier. Just watching this replay, this is right now, I would say, the highlight that the WUL wants, but can they repeat it? They still have time left on the clock, 42 seconds left in this third quarter. Can they get another break?
If I'm the coaches of the WUL, I am taking this bit of momentum and I am working it for all that it's worth. They have an opportunity to really go out, push pressure, and you can see that Robic Fennig racing downfield. They want to put the pressure on. Deep in the end zone, Fennig, Callahan country. Disc goes over, but Monshine brings it in. So much pressure there in that moment.
And you can see the importance of this point now, 24 seconds, they're still on the clock. The disc will remain with the PWL.
And that pressure resulted in being thrown past Wu Fennig, picks up now with Chip Chang.
Now, can they remember that the clock is their friend? A break, 5 seconds left.
Elmi, the WUL working it. What an incredible opportunity. That's 2. That's 2.
So now here's the question. This is where strategy starts to come into play. You have 5 seconds left on the clock. Do you just focus on keeping the PUL from scoring, or are you going to get greedy and try and get an opportunity to get the disc? Now, to do that, this is where your placement of your pull starts to come into play. Kelsey, I'm excited.
Want my answer?
Yeah, I want your answer.
Oh, I'm greedy.
You're greedy.
You're greedy. You're down by this much. What do you have to lose?
This is true.
Go for it.
Remember, there's only 40 to 60 seconds. 40 seconds for offense to call ready, 60 seconds for defense to call ready. The question is, we see Coach Jonathan Helton on the field now. What is he instructing his D-line to do? Again, 5 seconds. This point ends on a change of possession, not the clock. We're taking a breath here, Kelsey. So they opted to keep the disc inbounds, perhaps not what they wanted, but again, the clock has now expired. So this point will end on whether or not the PUL scores or the WUL gets a turn. And we see the drop. That ends our quarter. This is now ending the fourth quarter. The lead now narrowed down to 6 here, Kelsey. We are now going to be entering our all-important fourth quarter. Can the WL continue their momentum into the fourth?
What an interesting place. How incredible the way that WL has been able to respond here in the second half. PUL made a mountain. Can they climb it?
Well, really, actually, is the mountain insurmountable for the WL? That's the real question here. And right now, the WL, with the momentum coming into this fourth quarter, they are going to start this fourth quarter on defense. Can they get another break here? Can they keep the PUL out of the end zone? Those are the questions that must be answered in this fourth quarter, Kelsey, and I am here for it.
I know you are. So one thing I do want to give us some time for, an opportunity. Both these leagues, nonprofit, here to grow the sport, here to give a place for women, and that right there is your opportunity to participate. This QR code is an ability to help donate and support these leagues. If you like the product that you're watching today, if you want to support these teams, help grow the sport, help grow the platform and presence for women, scan that QR code, give a little bit of love to these teams, and in general, thank you so much for watching. This has been a fantastic game to cover, and we've got more coming.
We do have a great fourth quarter, and again, whether you're at a watch party, whether you're watching from home, whether you're watching us internationally, whether you're watching us for the first time, welcome. This is the PUL All-Star Game 2025 here in Madison, Wisconsin, and we have a game for you. And the question will, of course, be, will the WL claw its way back into this game, or will the PUL hold on and win the first of hopefully many inaugural All-Star Game?
A little bit of love for the fans. They're up, their energy. Seeing a little ice cream, that sounds good about now, Manisha.
It's been remarkably warm today, Kelsey. I mean, we started off a little overcast one this morning, and again, we're talking about these players came in for a 7:30 a.m. practice. They were on this field from 7:30 to 9, and then given the afternoon to get to know one another. And here we are now in the fourth quarter of the first WL-PUL All-Star Game.
Now, I want you to look down the gut of this shot. So we're getting a nice shot of the PUL players, but look on that far end zone line. Look how many fans are packed. This is right, like, at the back of the end zone. Think of the environment. If you're the players, what a treat to play here where the fans are right next to you. You get to hear them. You get to feel that energy.
And this venue is beautiful. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to be able to be here this weekend and really get to take in this atmosphere. This community has been incredible and so welcoming. And more importantly, this community is itching for the WL to come back.
And by this community, she means Manisha.
I'm a community of one.
Olsen working with Wu in the backfield. Little bit of crooked coming out of the hands, but now it's up to Poyer. Poyer looked for the continue, not there, so she'll reset. Nice high release, giving Wu time to get there. Again, PUL excelling at moving laterally across the field. Poyer accelerates too far, not quite enough touch.
Sue now picking up the disc. Sue started a little rough this game, but seems to have settled into this game. This is the line where we're seeing a lot of our Colorado players combined with our Alpengold players, and another deep shot.
I thought we were going to have Mackline there for the second. That shot from Sue headed towards Thorpe. Jezierski was there as well, but it goes to the ground. Wu and Olsen again working in the backfield. Little disconnected right now. Stacks pretty far. And the defense starting to sag and really taking away these lanes.
And a nice switch there by the WL, but again, looking for the deep look. You saw Wu was looking for that at the beginning of this point.
Becca Henley was in the area, but instead it is swatted away by Emma Bartlett.
Now, if I'm the PUL, this is good. This is a minute and a half off the clock.
So WL, Jezierski with the disc, working with Thorpe. You can feel the urgency, the motor going on both of these players. Thorpe airs it out. That's got a lot of pace. Too much for Jezierski.
And these two incredible dynamic players, to your point, really understanding the urgency of this moment and the need to be able to start to put points on the board.
Dunn also in the area, but again, any float on that, maybe they run it down. Both of them had their defense beat. Sue scoops it up. Dixon on the red zone shot goes out, done in the area. Beautiful read.
And that is a break. And you can see Abby Thorpe celebrating in the middle of the field. This is the game we wanted Abby Thorpe to have, and you can start to feel that energy. You are correct. Abby Thorpe's energy is contagious, and we saw that in that third quarter, and right now it is lovely to see that this WL offense is showing signs of life. Again, an easy just poach grab there by Sue. Dixon just scurrying downfield, finding Dunn in the end zone, looking for the easy pass. Dunn making sure that they have possession and coming down with the goal. The differential now 5, Kelsey, 5.
When you're in that place, when you're climbing that mountain, it's got to start from somewhere. It's one point, it's one player. What's that point of origin? And right now, Abby Thorpe doing a lot to get this team back in the game, but there are so many playmakers on this team who could ride that wave and keep pushing.
One of them we talked about at the top of this broadcast, Fenning, largely quiet today, has been unable to connect on some of those deep looks, but if I know Robin Fenning, this is their time and place to shine. So you see a zone look coming from the WL here, just some saggy looks.
Manisha, that's what I wanted to ask you about the previous point. This looks like a defensive adjustment to me, and it's taken away a lot of this smooth, small movement from the PUL. What are you seeing?
And we're seeing the PUL just taking advantage, taking all the way up the middle of the field and really just churning yards.
Mattamore, up and over. Fennig was there. Mast was there, nothing to it.
And I'm not sure I like the zone call. I got to say that right now.
Was that a zone, or was that just a really poachy take away the lanes? But PUL just going over the top. Watch Mattamore get up over Davis. Fennig on that back shoulder makes the safe play. PUL just churning yards there. But again, this incredible play. Mattamore elevates. What an incredible effort from the Michigan State product. Has a national title to her name in the mixed club scene with hybrid.
And so now the PUL's got to feel good. There's now back to the 6-goal lead. This was 3 points in a row for the WL. Can the WL now, starting on offense, which has not been their friend this far, find a way to find the end zone?
Big pull from Krebs will go out of bounds. Looks like Applegate will center.
Looks like the WL starting in a side stack. Again, different than what we saw in the first half, which was horizontal. We are now seeing the WL execute on creating more space. But again, for these deep looks that have thus far not been great for
Talk
the
to me
WL.
about the defensive spacing from the PUL on that.
In this last point or right now?
Right now.
So right now you're seeing that the WL is being backed. In other words, that the PUL is playing behind. They understand that the WL has these throwers. They understand that the WL can score deep, but a drop again by Applegate has not had a great game.
That's a tough one. Another short field opportunity for this PUL team. Krebs working with Mast. Give, go on the doorstep. Morse closing towards that cone. But PUL staying so disciplined and be like, getting back. You are never more open than when you have thrown the disc. Montenegro closes in. Krebs with the score.
And
PUL
just that
stops
little
the bleed.
spin move there in the end zone catches Talia Ward out of sorts. Krebs, as we talked at the top of the broadcast, is having a game today.
And remember, in this game, there have been so many turns, so much disconnect. Applegate frustrated with herself. You can see it there, but the yards from Krebs. Some of the top production in this game today.
Montenegro with her second assist of the game. I know her family is watching. She says hi to her parents.
Krebs and Ford for the PUL, the only two players in this game with more than 200 throwing yards. Krebs with 260. Just shoulders above in execution right now anyone else on this field. Sue with the big fake, moves the defense, connects upfield. but the continue's just not there. Dixon now slowly chipping away at yards. Dipson steps in, it pops up. Jezierski finds it. Byers is there.
Jezierski just unable to read that disc as it trails to the left. Abby Thorpe again back on this field. You've been noticing that the three groupings are coming in and out again. An injury call stopping play right now.
Looks like Raina Kemrat will be going off the field. A lot of hustle. Kemrat was the first cut on that play, but Helton coming in for Kemrat. Ford immediately breaks the mark, goes cross field. PUL airing out the fakes, looking to connect. Matamore continues to elevate, keeps possession. Good read by Ford. Love this Ford-Thorpe matchup.
And now looking downfield.
Biquette, under pressure from Dunn, goes upfield. Wilson, this time will score.
And the tide's turning back towards the PUL's favor. This now 8-goal lead. The WL feeling shell-shocked of sorts. The PUL's strength has been their ability to just go up line. The WL has not had an answer. And every time they've gotten that up line, Kelsey, the PUL has struck deep with great success.
PUL just moving the disc and connecting, but also I feel like getting the bobbles, getting those, you know, two-way plays, things that could go either way. Right now, they're coming up with them. So Manisha, 7 minutes on a clock. That's a lot of time to play, but when you're looking at this gap, what's the best thing that WL can accomplish? It is in the world of possibility. It's in the realm that they could close.
Had their Hucks been successful, and in many ways, the reason their Hucks were successful the last couple points was because of Abby Thorpe, but Abby Thorpe is not on this point right now.
Abby Thorpe actually took the Ford matchup just in that last point. So playing a little double pressure from PUL there. Cardoso was unable to come down with it.
It was actually a foul call on the throw by Fenig. Cardoso did get the disc, but landed out of bounds. Now the question is what happens with this foul call. This will now come back. You can see the observer signaling there was a foul. Clock continues typically to move, but when there's an extensive stoppage, you will see the clock stop.
One thing I do want to highlight, we went from 7 to now 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Every second valuable here for the WL. They need to move with tempo. They need to keep possession, and just like that.
A kick block, actually, from Elmi, who was trying to hit Cardoza.
Wu centering the disc, has Olsen. And maybe a question on the PUL side, do they continue to just ruthlessly attack to score, or how much are they possession and milking clock at this point?
This is a show now, and they need to demonstrate that the questions that came in about their roster choices, the questions that came in about their ability to compete are answered.
A shot for Ding goes to the ground, but it doesn't matter because the returning shot from McLaughlin goes to ground 2. Monshine picks up, gets the disc rolling, connects upfield to Henley. Olsen hits Poyer on the opposite side. Little high, doesn't matter. Poyer takes a shot, but immediate frustration. It sails out of bounds.
I'm not sure if Chip Chang got a piece of that, because that disc trailed suddenly to the right of the field where it was really targeting the middle of the field.
Inside shot there to Krishnikova. McLaughlin gets the reset. That's the first kind of continue that WL has had downfield in a while. Elme almost too casual with that reset, but keeps it and hits Cardoza upfield. McLaughlin doing all kinds of work. That connective tissue in between. Shot to Cordova. Cardoza gets it on the cone. That's a big one for the WL. Can they do it again?
That's a hold, but we are now less than halfway. Well, more than halfway left in this fourth quarter, and the PUL has regained the halftime lead of 7 points. The WUL is going to have to come up with something quickly to be able to try and watching that foot block again. Beautiful shot there. Elmi not phased at all, finding her second assist of the game.
And look at this lane. Watch this inside shot. That's such a laser.
And it's a throw that Elmi is known for, actually, on the Tempest. It's one of the things that Elmi brings to that Tempest offense is her ability to break and move with tempo. And that is one of the first opportunities we really get to see the skill set that these teams bring and these individual players bring, not only to their rosters, but in this case to this team right now.
So one of the things we saw most successfully was a big pull and then a heavy hustle down by the WUL. It does look like that pull will sail out of bounds. So PUL getting to start it centered.
And right now, looking at the way that the teams are setting up, it looks like they're setting up in person, not that saggy zone junk look that we had been talking about in the third quarter, Kelsey.
Montenegro centered with the disc. Cardosa takes the matchup. Cherwink started upfield. Has the Krebs matchup, but playing way off space, I think trying to take lanes away initially. Downfield to Morse. Krebs playing very backfield, looking for the easy reset.
So content with the easy reset, with no pressure back there. Again, the time is not their issue.
Matamore, Krebs. Krebs uncorks one. Tricky edge. Good body from Cardosa. Mast can't come down with it.
And so interesting because Cardosa initially had position, looked like that she lost position, but really she was just ensuring that the disc would not trail over their head.
WUL just past their end zone line, finally get out, find Cherwink. Cherwink has been so reliable for gaining yards, especially in those high pressure situations.
Ellie Melik just looking downfield.
These inside shots have been gorgeous for the WUL. Helton trying to track it down. Krebs is there. That's a lot of contact. Helton goes down hard.
And Helton perhaps not expecting the player on the outside shoulder as she went up and might have had some contact on that shoulder on the way down. Seeing Krebs here on the replay. Perhaps also just not a great landing on that knee.
That Krebs goes up pretty straight. Helton was reading the disc coming in at an angle. That's a tough one. What are your thoughts on that being a potential dangerous play, Manisha?
It's always challenging, and these are the debates that happen online as it relates to whose responsibility is it to see and recognize players around you.
Blind spaces. We're talking about blind spots on the field for players.
And I think this is a knee for Helton, the way that she's coming off. Helton, as we already highlighted, one of the members of the USA World Games team, just returning back from China, honestly, only maybe 72 hours ago. But Helton, to their credit, someone who has been a big believer in the WUL, said, I would never miss this opportunity.
Yeah, incredible. And definitely one of the players who got some of that early cohesion in the first half when so many things were going wrong. So hopefully we will see her up and walking again. Really, really tough to see her carried off the field like that.
Now with 3 minutes left on the clock, the PUL has to feel like they're in a very good position right now with a 7-goal lead in this inaugural All-Star game.
Montenegro had Matamore going deep. The defense was right there. WUL doing a really good job of taking away the deep shots. You're seeing these kind of flat marks. Montenegro, very patient, working with Krebs.
But
Ejects from that space, and Mast fills.
PUL finding resets easy. That's been the challenge. A hand block there.
Norton smacks that disc down. Big play.
2:35 left in this game.
Ward out in space. Norton's there, has the shot, scoops it up, has Cherwick, goes crossfield, Cardosa. Krebs almost closed. What a gorgeous window.
And that's Cardosa's 3rd goal of the game, all coming in this second half. That was with a Falcon teammate, Talia Ward, with the assist.
You know, one of the things that coaches Helton and Putnam highlighted, they said the young players are just going to ball out, and we're seeing so much of these young players rising to the occasion. What an incredible narrow window, put enough pace on it to punch through.
And pace is what they need, but right now what we have is 2 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock, and we are seeing the WL trying to game out how to get some of these passes back and some of these points back quickly. We are seeing our Abby Thorpe grouping back on the field. Again, that's the players that we noted, that some of the Seattle players, you see Sue Jezierski on this line, and then our two representatives from Colorado Alpenglow. Or two of our three, I apologize. Sue in the area looking for the poach block. Now we see the deep look. Jezierski now coming down with it, but moves too fast. Dixon holds on.
Big save from Dixon. Fans in the stands got up for that one. Dixon now really driving the tempo, working with Thorpe in the middle field. You could feel the urgency. They want this one, but they've got to keep possession.
And you can see Thorpe coming into this space, but getting picked up by the poach. Stymieing the field.
Stall count rising. Dunn working in the space. Covered well by Wilson. Big D there from Biquette. And Biquette surges deep. Jezierski was there. Jezierski, remember the origin of that D that got the WL the disc. But now back with the PUL.
And
Matamore, Wilson going to work.
Minute 13 left on this clock.
Byers, shots over to Barnett, may or may not stay. There was a pick called.
It appears that the pick was called before the throw went off, so the question will be whether or not that the pick is too far, allowing Barnett to keep the disc.
Looks like disc will stay. Dunn catching up. Barnett hits a wide open Wilson. Must be a matchup. Biquette elevates. And the confidence sends it out. Jezierski.
And just gets turned around.
Danny Byers gets the score. What an incredible sequence.
And that's just fearless. Fearless from the PUL. Yes, we asked the question early on, what do you do in this moment? And I said, you show out, and the PUL agrees. A great throw there by Biquette. That is 2 assists and 3 goals for Biquette so far. Daniel Byers just has to make sure that she doesn't get turned around and comes up with the score.
And the effort from Jezierski there, trying to track that. Now remember, Jezierski had that highlight D just moments before. Trying to track the disc, knows that it's up, but Biquette, the edge to snap that one into place, knows Byer is heading for the end zone. What an incredible play. And you can just see the looseness and the lightness in this PUL team right now.
And now with 47 seconds, the disc is pulled out of bounds. That will stop the clock. Interesting choice there by the PUL. Fennick now with the disc, always dangerous.
Big flat mark from the PUL.
Ellie Malik now with the disc in the middle of the field. Looking downfield, open receiver.
This is such a key possession. Clock is winding down.
Well, we just need to score now.
Elmy grinding in the backfield.
And
pressure there from Olsen.
Called.
Is it down?
It's a question of the foul. Now the clock does read 0, but I do believe there was at least a second left on the clock.
Elimelech there. Elmy, short field.
This is now untimed.
Elmy, Elimelech, final Chef's kiss goes to the WL. They are able to grind that one out. They close the gap a little bit, but what an incredible victory. PUL 15-9. They are your first PUL WL All-Star Game champions.
And what a game for the PUL. What a showcase for the PUL in this moment. Whether or not there were questions coming into this game, this roster demonstrated top through bottom why they deserve the title of All-Star. When you look at just the statistics of these players, whether it was Danielle Briers, whether it was Liv Ford, whether it was Lena Montenegro, all of these players demonstrated a cohesiveness that was the difference maker in this game. The WL shaking hands with the PUL players. Again, this is a game all in love. This is a game to celebrate women's ultimate, and these two teams worthy of the spotlight here in Madison, Wisconsin. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring this game to you. My name is Manisha Dariani. I have been here with Kelsey, Percy, and it has been a joy and pleasure to be a part of this community, part of this moment, part of this unification of incredible leagues, UFA, WL, PUL. Shout out to our incredible crew who helped bring this game to life, and of course, this incredible crowd. You don't necessarily see it, but y'all, this was a bumping crowd here. I hope you at home had a wonderful time getting to know these leagues or supporting your favorite league. And if it wasn't your favorite league, my hope is that it is now. This is the WL and the PUL, the Western Ultimate League, the Premier Ultimate League, two incredible power horses of semi-professional ultimate here in the women's division. And it is our joy to give you this opportunity to see these two teams here. And we will come right back at you very shortly.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine and a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement needs to be. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
And welcome back as we conclude this inaugural WL, PUL All-Star Game. You're getting a look at the crowd here as the UFA championship teams are lining into the stadium, but still we will have a trophy presentation for you coming at you very shortly. This has been an absolute pleasure to be a part of this experience with you, and we are going to throw it down to Kelsey Percy, who is down on the field with your winners.
Thank you, Manisha. I am down here with the PUL All-Star team, and we're gonna bring them up on the stage here. Big congratulations. And if we could get a shout out from the fans for this incredible team and the game that they just pulled up, let's get up on your feet. Get up on our feet. So congratulations, incredible effort. 15-9, stunning win. Way to come together, be cohesive. And in honor of the PUL, WUL, UFA, here is your trophy. Congratulations, first-time winners.
And as Kelsey awards the inaugural trophy to the PUL, you can see the celebration. This PUL roster excited to have been able to showcase their incredible talents to you all at home. We hope you had a great time. We hope you support Women's Ultimate. We want to see you coming out to a game. We want to see you tuning in. It has been a pleasure to be a part of this weekend. Again, once again, thank you to our host, the UFA. Thank you to our host, MUFA. Thank you to the Madison community. And of course, thank you to all of you at home for supporting Women's Ultimate. We cannot do this without you. It has been an incredible opportunity to be able to celebrate Women's Ultimate, celebrate two incredible leagues, and we do that because you, the fans, are worth it. And so, thank you.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine and a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement is to be. Combat Candy, making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
I'ma city got love for my people. When I put on, I want this shit from me, though. Get that money up, now your boy got it, ego. Before you cut the check, nigga, another zero.